Hello, welcome to part 3 of the email writing workshop. Last we left off, we were talking about emails that were requesting information. Now we're going to talk a little bit about replying, because of course replying in this case is important if someone requests information, isn't it? So when you were requesting information, you sent a message and you said who you were and how you know that person or why you were contacting them. Then you gave them a request, and then you signed off. Well, with the reply, you're going to, well, of course, reply to that request or the information that they've provided or so forth. So as you see here, in the reply, you have the RE. And RE is usually added in a lot of email systems. If it's not, you might want to do it yourself, but I'm assuming in your system it is. It's standard. So that's a reply, and it uses the original subject heading. Now this is another reason why it's important to have a good descriptive subject heading, because you're going to have to live with it for a while. So in the message, they reply, "Hi, Dan." Now remember, in my previous email, I had signed off with the name Dan because I was indicating that I was interested in being less formal. And in their reply, they did that. They replied in an informal manner, "Hi, Dan." I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed the presentation. I'm happy to provide you with a copy of my presentation. Please see the attached PowerPoint document. So I'm acknowledging what the request was and thanking them for their interest, okay, and telling them that I will send it to them, and in fact here telling them to see the attached PowerPoint. So in this message I've attached something. It's a good habit when you send a file in an email that you reference it in the actual email message. Okay. Now obviously people can see this, but it's kind of a good idea, especially because spam messages don't tend to reference the email, and at least not specifically. And so if you're sending something to someone, especially if you don't know them very well, and you're sending them a file, it's kind of nice to write in the message something about the file. There was a second part of the request that I sent originally, and that was, can you tell me other people who write about this topic? And so I'll reply to that. Other people working in the same area are John Smith at Johns Hopkins. So usually, oftentimes, people will say a person's name, an author's name, a researcher's name, and the place that they work. And Paula Brewer at University of Minnesota. I suggest starting with Smith's, that means the author's name, Smith. What you can't see can hurt you, in the journal Nature, and when it was published. Okay. So he's provided me some information about who to read and given me a recommendation of where to start. Okay. Then I add, if you have any questions, let me know. So I'm keeping the possibility open for further communication. I don't necessarily have to do that, and honestly, if I don't write that, maybe I'm not interested in him emailing me anymore. So I'm putting it in there because I'm open to that idea. Now again, I'm using sincerely, even though I'm using a less formal reply. But like I said, sincerely can pretty much be used for just about anything other than it's probably not used with close friends. And I'm replying with the first name, a given name, right? So I'm continuing that on. I'm encouraging the person that I'm corresponding with to refer to me by my first name. But then I also put my signature. So the full name and certification, PhD, job title, department, institution, address, relevant phone and fax numbers, email, and again, even a personal website. Not a bad idea if you do have one. So now that you've seen some examples of information request emails and reply emails, I want to point out some outlines and some general structures that you can use. And of course, I've kind of already discussed them a little bit, but let's get in more detail. So for the information request outline, first I want you to introduce yourself if the recipient doesn't know you. Even if they do, maybe it's not a bad idea to introduce yourself if there's some distance between you and them. Let the recipient know why this request is being made. So why are you sending the email to them specifically? In the first few sentences, clearly and politely make your request. Now, it's usually a good idea, in my opinion, to leave your request for a separate paragraph. So first introduce yourself very briefly, and then make a new paragraph to ask your request. If there are many parts to your request, it's not a bad idea to use some kind of bulleted list. You know, the bulleted list is when you make a list and you use the ... right? When doing that, it makes it a lot easier to see exactly what you're requesting and make sure that I can go down the list and kind of check off the things that I've done. Describe why you need this information. You know, this is important almost in any correspondence. It's not just, please give me this. Tell me why you need it, what you're going to use it for. Okay? Because if I understand that, first of all, it's just more polite to include that information. Also, I'm just more likely to give it to you if you tell me why. Provide contact information for question or comments. So your email address, phone number. I would say probably include both of those. Since you're going to put those in your signature anyway, you might just say, please see my contact information below, and they can look in your signature. Thank them for their assistance. So if you're going to make a request to somebody, certainly you should be thanking them. Even before they do it, you say, you know, thank you for your help, thank you for reading my mail, thank you for assisting me, something like that. Okay. So let's take a look at activity 5. So here, you're going to make an information request. So what I'd like you to do, and I know this is more of a group activity, but I think we can do this individually regardless. I would like you to pick one of the characters you see below, and I've described a number of different people and given them some characteristics. You have Youngmin Kim. Youngmin Kim is a Sangmyung University undergraduate student, probably similar to you. Daesam Kwang is a 50-year-old parent of a student at Sangmyung University, so maybe one of your parents. Dr. Jungtae Im is a 75-year-old retired professor, so he's a very senior professor. Okay, you've heard about the program and you want more information. So you have not met Professor Craig yet, but you've heard about him. And Dr. Ho-Sung Lee. He's a colleague of Professor Craig, and you see each other every day, and your children go to the same school. So now back up to the top here. What you're going to do is you're going to make an information request. You are one of these people below, right? One of these 4 people, and you are writing a letter to Daniel Craig. So if you look at the activity 5, you'll see that the recipient, the person you're writing the letter to, is Daniel Craig. He's a professor at Sangmyung University in Seoul. He's in charge of bringing a group of students to Indiana University next summer. He's an American and is about 35 years old. Okay, I'm a little older than that. He has a friendly demeanor, but he is rather formal with people he's never met. So you're going to make a request. You want more information about the study abroad program at Indiana University. So you should request information about the program, including dates, cost, and a general description of the program. Okay? So at this point right now, please pause the video and write your request. Now please make sure that you include all of the pieces of an email that we've talked about already. So you're going to have a good subject, you're going to have a greeting, you're going to have the message body in which you do all of the things that you're supposed to do in an information request. You're going to have a valediction, some way of saying bye, sincerely. And you're going to have a signature. Okay? So please pause the video and do that now, and then come back when you're done. Okay, well, I hope you've made a really good information request email. Now we're going to do the other side, and you're going to take the other position. Now you are Professor Craig. Congratulations. So you're going to write a reply. So what's in a reply? So let's take a look at the outline. Greet the person with the same level of formality with which they signed their original message. Now this is usually true, but not always true. Sometimes someone will end their message using their first name, which indicates a less formal tone. But with someone like the 75-year-old professor, you might still want to be more formal, right? And so you have a decision to make here, and there's no necessarily wrong answer, but when in doubt, be more formal. Some level of humility or empathy is often expressed. Okay, so thank you for your questions. Let me try to answer them. I understand your concern over this procedure, but I agree with your opinion that ... Okay? So you're just acknowledging something that they've said, and hopefully that makes for a better connection between you two. Restate the key points that you're responding to. So if they ask for more information about the program, say, below is more information about the program, the costs, and the dates. That's as simple as you can make it. Okay, so now you're going to write your reply. So take your original message that you made before, and you're going to now reply to it. And so you've received a letter requesting information about the new study abroad program. You are inclined to reply to the requests if they are appropriately written. I'm assuming they are. Reply to the email in an equally appropriate tone, form, and style. Review the characters, information, and activity 5, sorry it says 3 here, to do this properly. Okay? So consider the person who made the request and then reply appropriately to them. Alright? So pause the video until you're done doing that. Okay, so I'm going to end part 3 right now. There will be a part 4 where we're going to talk about language use in the emails. Stay tuned for that. Bye-bye.